different companies, very interesting, and I may stay a bit longer than I initially planned. Yeah, you may ask yourself, what is a steel guy doing here? Why is a steel guy, or why has a steel guy or a steel company started the transformation in the digital world already some time ago, so about 2 years or a bit more than 2 years ago? The reason is relatively simple. The reason is our traditional core business. Our traditional core business in the value chain of steel is stock holding. So we buying steel from the big producers here in Europe and in North America. Then we stocking the steel, and then we selling the steel to all kinds of different industries, construction industries, machinery, mechanical engineering industry, to the automotive industry, so all industries which are using steel. And we have to stock the steel because we don't really know what our customers buying the next day, especially in the spot business, for instance, in construction. These construction companies typically order the steel today, and then we have to deliver tomorrow. So we're providing, so to say, availability through stock holding, which is of course inefficient. But not only we stocking steel, also the producers are stocking steel, because they don't know what the distribution channel needs, because also we are giving them no information what steel we need and what steel we need to be supplied with going forward. And so also this part of the value chain is interrupted, and also our customers are stocking steel because they cannot be sure that we have all the steel, or that the distribution channel has all the steel immediately what they're needing the next day, for instance. So the supply chain is several times interrupted, very inefficient, and on top of that, our customers are ordering typically still by fax or by phone, and the only innovation, I would say, within the last 10 or 20 years was here that we getting more and more orders by email, but that's it. So, and that was the trigger finally about 2 years ago to think about the value chain and to think about what will happen going forward when the world is changing. When the world is changing towards a digital world, is then a company like Klöckner still needed, or at least partially such a company needed, and how could the value chain then look like 5 years from now? That's where we started, and we came to the conclusion that the world will really change, and that also the value chain will change tremendously. Our vision, which we developed at that point in time 2 years ago, was that in about a couple of years from now we will have an industry platform, not only in our industry, that will be true possibly also for other industries, but especially for fragmented industries. We will have an industry platform where finally all suppliers, all customers, and of course also all competitors and third party are integrated. So that was the vision where we started with. But then, of course, there's a big question for a corporate, and especially for a relatively conservative corporate, or at least for a corporate in a conservative industry, how to drive this change, how to start with the transformation, where to start. Should we do it internally? So more sustaining, should we do it separately? So there are a lot of questions when you want to start this transformation process. First of all, I think it's necessary to establish for this kind of transition a separate entity. This doesn't work from inside, especially when it's more disruptive, when it's more a sustaining innovation, which is not the case. Then you can do it internally, but when it's disrupted, when it's really changing the industry, then it has to come from outside, from a separate entity. That was the first decision we made. But now, having having a separate entity, it doesn't make sense to transfer only your people into this entity, because then also not that much will change. You need different people. You need especially also people who are working differently, who are faster when they implementing projects and also more agile. So what we figured out then first is how startups work and why startups working so much quicker than a corporate works. And we all know in a corporate world how we doing big ERP projects. We first of all starting typically with providing all the resources which are needed, money, people. Then we having this project plan over 3 or 4 years. We establishing committees who are discussing every 3 months the progress. And then we're starting with this intensive system analysis to make sure that nothing is forgotten. The target or the goal is always that all functions or all features are integrated finally in such a system. Then we start to program, and after 3 years we start with the first pilot installation, and that is then the first time the customers or users seeing what we developed, and then we have another other changes, and then after 4 or 5 years the system is implemented. Everyone is frustrated because of the overrunning cost and time, but the next project starts in the same way. And we find out, we started here, by the way, in the beta house, in a co-working space, and there we find out that startups working completely different, completely the opposite. Typically, startups have not enough resources in the beginning. They have very tight resources, only their personal money or family money. So they have to make sure that they are, with the first product, very quick in the market with the first minimal viable product, so a product which covers only the necessary features, but which is in any case, and which for this in any case has to be focused clearly very much on the customers. So you have to make sure that you really fulfill the customer needs with this first minimal viable product, and then you implement this product, and then you start to improve the product. Then this build, measure, learn cycle starts. So that's what we figured out. And when you want to do this in a more established corporate like us, then you have to do it separately, but you also have to do it with other people. You need digital natives for doing this, and this is why we now have about 20 people here in our subsidiary Klöckner.I, which are coming primarily here from the startup scene of Berlin. They're coming also from more established companies like Amazon or eBay, but they're coming also from Rocket Internet, from Helpling, from Outfittery, so from a couple of startups who are working now together with us for this transition. So, but when you then have established this separate entity, it's also necessary that you collaborate with the corporate side, because when you're not doing this, you don't leverage what you have, and this is customers and suppliers, so traffic, which could be brought on the platform. So you have to also to make sure that these people working together with the operational people, especially in our case with the sales guys, with the sales people, with the sales force, when implementing this new systems, tools, and platform. Because finally, also our salespeople have to be convinced that this is our future. And this is not that easy, because they also know that they disrupt to a certain extent their current business with this new tools and new systems. So a lot of communication is necessary to make this feasible, to make this then happen going forward. So that is the third very important issue. And then there's also a technical issue. Typically in a corporate, you have your CIO, and your CIO wants to have control above all IT projects and all IT systems which are implemented. But also here you have to decouple. You have to decouple the unit, and you have to make sure that they're working on their own platform, because they're typically working much faster. And when everything would have to be implemented into the ERP system first, then you would immediately lose speed. So therefore, we put, in this case, a middleware in between, and we're working here in Berlin within Klöckner.I in a completely separate cloud than we're working for the corporate side. So I think these 4 issues are extremely important when you want to make sure that the transformation of a very conservative company in the digital world works. And our final vision or our final target is to build up this industry platform. And this industry platform is finally a very powerful platform, because when this works, then in this platform there are integrated the suppliers on the one side, all suppliers, then on the other side the customers and also the competitors. And also this is of course difficult to communicate into the company, saying you people that you also want to put your competitors on this platform, but only with an open platform could be successful, and only an open platform provides advantages for the customers, because with this platform they have then access to all kind of steel and metal products. So this is what we're doing then in the last and the final step. Currently we are in the second step, so we are on the second phase. In the first step we established these customer-concentric tools, or developed a lot of customer-concentric tools, and started to implement. Then in the second step, in the second phase where we are now, we're integrating these tools together in a platform, in a service platform for our customers, where they can choose then which kind of digital business they want to do with us. And then in the third phase, we will open this platform for our competitors to integrate also as much competitors as possible into this platform. All this is of course more complex than in B2C, even if this could be called something like the Amazon for steel. It's more complex because it's not enough that customers are open an account or so and then ordering through a web shop. We have to make sure that we integrate it, that we're building interfaces to integrate really also all ERP systems of our customers into this platform. And this is of course a much more complex issue than only opening accounts. But on the other hand, customers and suppliers will not integrate into several platforms, so there will finally be, in my point of view, maybe it's not one, maybe two, but there will not be that many platforms for an industry, and therefore these platforms will be very, very powerful going forward. And here we have, of course, the advantage in our industry that this industry, the steel distribution industry, is a fragmented industry. In a fragmented industry, it's of course easier as if you have 2 or 3 big players before, because they then would have to agree to one platform, and they typically like to have more proprietary platform. But in a fragmented industry like the steel industry, this is, in our point of view, easier to implement. Target is, by the way, to open this platform to competitors in 2017, so in about 1.5 years from now, and then we will be able to service these kind of industries. Not, by the way, not only here in Europe, we also implementing this in the US. We're doing 40% of our business in the US, and we often discussing here in Germany who is advanced in this kind of industry 4.0 or platform issues. And I have to say that the US is clearly not advanced here. They are also far away, especially the steel industry is also far away from this kind of from tools and platforms. So there is, on the other hand, a big chance for us here going forward. Yeah, thanks very much. That's it from my side, and I would now be open for questions. Fantastic. Thank you.
To our audience members, let's see if the coffee has started to work. Does anyone have a question for Gisbert Rühl? You can make your way to a microphone. Here we go. A lady, I like that.
Hi. My name's Bianca Müller. I work for a plastics distribution company over
Where are
here.
You? There.
Thank you. And I'd be interested how you plan on getting your competitors onto this platform. Are they already assuming a same approach, like setting up a platform, or are you the first one to go with it?
Yeah, we are clearly the first one in our industry, And there, as mentioned, the advantage is that it's a fragmented industry, so most of our competitors are much smaller than we are. Some of them have only one site or 1, 2, or 3 sites. And they know that it's very difficult for them to digitalize their business. So what we're providing them is a complete, the full setup to integrate into our platform. And interestingly, there was a fair 2 weeks ago, and we had already customers who were competitors who were asking if they could join or integrate into the platform. And then we asked them, okay, why are you interested in joining a Klöckner platform, a platform from a big competitor? And then they were saying, yeah, look, when we're integrating in your platform, we have traffic, no? Which we probably don't have when independents coming or smaller companies coming up with such a platform. But you it's finally clear. The platform has then finally really to be an open platform, and with no main distributor like Klöckner. So it has to be an open platform in the end.
You're basically saying in a couple of years in a vision it will not be Klöckner existing any longer, but basically like Klöckner E as the main hub for the industry.
It could be, because also, currently the whole logistics is going through stocks of us or our competitors. But when the supply chain is structured finally online and much more efficient, then also this is not even necessary. A lot of steel can then also be distributed, for instance, to logistic companies which are in logistic maybe anyhow better than we are. So that means, and this is, by the way, something we started also already, that we putting out businesses out of our traditional value chain and giving them to third party, and so disrupting our business right now.
Thank you.